We get it. Pandemics are the stuff of romance. It's the whole forced isolation thing, right? But for real, what is your stance on online dating? Our views on the phenomenon are just as varied as the results. For some, it is routine, a flurry of swipes and stiff conversation. For others, it's a stranger, a potential threat lurking around every digital corner, a catfish in every dating pool. It is an inescapable and all-consuming, whether you're actively taking part or just eager to tell everyone how above the whole thing you are. Are you looking for love, a partner, hookups, or something else entirely? How long will you wait before meeting up? A few weeks, days, a few hours even. How old are those pictures? And are you really as fun as the About Me section makes you sound? Regardless of how often you swipe right, the spread of the novel coronavirus has withdrawn the very landscape of the digital dating industry. Remain profitable, encourage social distancing, and sell people on the promise of a less lonely tomorrow. We are by nature social creatures who crave connections in all forms: physical, mental, emotional. So our question is, how do dating apps commodify the experience and bridge the gap between isolation and intimacy? When the doors open back up, can these conversations in the time of corona and crisis stand up to the test of the everyday interaction? Covid-19 has unmasked many of the lingering reservations about finding love online, but also has the potential to redefine our expectations of how and when the interaction becomes face-to-face. Before we get started today, this is our first video of our First Look series. This is where we ask questions and give initial thoughts on a topic that is emerging as data and discourse develop. All right, so let's ask questions and take a first look. In recent weeks, virtually all the major online dating services have expressed their concerns over COVID-19 and have regurgitated health experts' guidance on social distancing. But isn't keeping people away from each other in sharp contrast with the industry's goal? This also depends on how users are approaching the apps and websites in the first place. There are those whose intent is much more in line with friendship, networking, and casual conversation. However, this potential paradox is actually an accurate reflection of the internal conflict that many people are suffering from during the pandemic. The drive for fulfilling interaction and the struggle to make virtual connections feel as authentic as face-to-face encounters. This isn't unique to the current COVID climate, but the enforcements, mandates, and orders have produced an exacerbating effect on society. Nothing makes humans want to rebel more than being told what to do. So at every discernible level, a conflict arises. One that a hyper-connected technoculture is uniquely positioned to both illustrate and manipulate. Dating apps can connect us with potential romantic interests from all over the world without ever leaving the comfort and safety of our own homes. But is it an adequate replacement for the utility of services to create physical intimacies? At worst, it is encouraging people to engage in unsafe behaviors as cabin fever sets in. The major players have introduced previously premium content for free. Features such as Explore function allowing users to talk to each other anywhere in the world. Filters allowing users to search for others based on demographic preferences. And an increase in the amount and visibility of other profiles have been rotated in apps like Tinder and Grindr. Some have even introduced new features to encourage virtual dates or video dates.
Hey everyone, Kate and Stefan here from Plenty of Fish. We want to talk to you about Plenty of Fish Live.
Plenty of Fish Live is a new live streaming feature that we've added to the app to provide you guys with a little bit of entertainment and a new and interesting way to meet people in your area while you're looking for a match.
With some industry veterans suggesting that clients will have deeper conversations than they otherwise would before meeting up. But does longer interaction online result in deeper connections? Does a one-size-fits-all approach work? Or are dating apps diverse enough to warrant specific features to cater to clientele? With the addition of new features, the hope for the dating industry is that clients will eventually spend more in the future for the interactions they crave. After all, what is the price you'd pay to find the love of your life? Dating apps are known to be as predatory as any freemium model, and this current situation is no exception. Is COVID-19 benefiting the dating industry in a way that traps users in a game of endless swipes and notifications for people they likely won't meet anytime soon? Our modern culture is over-inundated with selection. We're a society paralyzed by the wealth of choice. With YouTube, Hulu, Disney+, Apple TV+, Netflix, and more, you find yourself overwhelmed with so many options that out of millions of choices, you can't find one thing to watch. Is online dating similar? It's no surprise that as our number of matches and messages goes up, our ability to hold a meaningful conversation with more and more people diminishes. And we risk forgetting that behind the careful curated photos and stats are living, breathing human beings trying to balance these same struggles we are. With the ability to interact with more potential partners than you would have otherwise, can you suffer from a swipe exhaustion? Even if we are super excited to meet a person online for whatever reason, and regardless of who we are, we have to admit that we all have some sort of dread and anxiety when meeting a person for the first time. What if we don't click? How do I get to know a person from scratch? What if they're a catfish? Will they kidnap me? What if our humor doesn't match? These types of questions are still a relatively new facet of the experience unique to online dating. This isn't to say in real life interactions are inherently more or less safe, but the current pandemic situation asks us to reconsider the context and the precautions of meeting someone. These everyday fears can be compounded by new ones, like chances of being exposed or exposing others to the virus. Does video dating remove risk completely? And subconsciously, do we seek out some sort of risk? After all, love rarely involves safe bets or the known knowns. Are risk healthy for interaction, or now more than ever, an artificial product of too much time alone? Apps like Hinge have seen a 30% increase in messages in March. And Tinder in late March saw the highest number of swipes in a single day, with more than 3 billion. We could argue that the increase in usage can link more compatible partners. However, this type of increase isn't perpetually sustainable. People will exhaust themselves, both in options and in interest. With the next few weeks or months being unpredictable for most of us, the spike in usage could likely be due to the anticipation of eventually being able to meet up. While quarantine life may seem to happen overnight, is it safe to say that we'll return to a normalcy that may be quite unfamiliar to us, and may ask to redefine the connections we made under isolation? A lot of our questions can be answered in a few months, as we see more of the effects of COVID-19. This is the first time the relatively new online dating industry will face a challenge and an opportunity like this. Like many industries, there is no historical precedent to look back on. But for now, our thoughts are that the increase in virtual dating can be sustainable for as long as people are willing to endure it. How long is that exactly? Is the increase only because we anticipate a return to normalcy soon? We will find out in the months to come. Just as interesting is the outcome of the human psyche. There will be effects on how we look at virtual interactions and our desire to create authentic experiences in digital spaces. Like anything else online, there's a balance between instant gratification and the thrill of reasonable anticipation. So we don't have all the answers, but would love to hear what you have to say. Leave a comment of what you think about all this. Have you been on a virtual date since the pandemic started? Are you all swiped out? How has isolation affected your love life? How long will you wait until you get to see someone? Would you meet them anyway? Let us know. A follow-up video will come as soon as we get more data.